Okay, Shalom Uvracha, my friends. The following Divrei Hesped are being delivered for the Yartzeit Yomi broadcast, but anyone is welcome to share this audio on other platforms as well. We've just now returned from the Levaya of our dear friend, our mentor, and visionary leader of our Masifta through its years of infancy and beyond, the Skanmanal, Rav Avram Zachari Menachem ben Rabbi Oberlander, Zechat Tzadik Levracha, Rabbi. And I thought it would be appropriate and worthwhile to share just some of my own thoughts and observations regarding Rav Avi's incredible leadership, his inestimable impact on all of us, including but not limited to hundreds of Talmidim, and just some of my thoughts about it. You know, I just want to share that Rav Reich Shlita, he said he said that he heard from Rav Meir Sternschlick that when Rav Meir was a bacher, learning in the Lakewood Masifta, in the Lakewood Yeshiva, so I'm assuming this is sometime in the 1950s, he was learning by the great Sar HaTorah of Aaron, and Rav Meir says, there was a man, obviously British individual, I don't know if that means he had a top hat or a trim mustache or whatever, and he was clearly looking for something. So Rav Meir, being a friendly bacher, walked over. Hi, Shalom Aleichem, can I help you? And the man said, I need to see the Rosh Hashiva. I'd like to see Rav Aaron color, if I'm able to see Rav Aaron. So Rav Meir apologized and said, I'm sorry, but he's preparing his shir klali, and it's impossible to speak to him. He can't be disturbed for anything. So Rav Aaron says over that the Yid says, recoiled and shocked, speak to him? I don't want to speak to him. I have nothing to say to the Sar HaTorah. I just want to see him. I want to be able to see him. So they said, that I could help you with. Come, I'll bring you to the window, and showed him the office. You could stand by the window, you can make all the noise you want. Maybe you could walk in if the door's open, whatever. He won't notice you, he won't see you, he won't be disturbed. You could see him all you want. And Rav Aaron shared that this Yid understood what it means, the hashpa, the benefit that one can derive just by being in the presence of a great person. I'm not drawing a parallel to say that, Rav Avi was the Rav Aaron color of our generation or anything like that. I'm bringing out a point that, Rav Aaron, and I think we may have mentioned this earlier Yartzeit Yomi broadcast, that Rav Aaron was a mashpia, just who he was, the incredible, from his godless and Torah, he was just by being near him. He was not what we would call, in the classic sense, a mechanech, who's someone who, chinuch is very popular today. We all try to be mechanech, our children, our talmidim, or whatever we come with, good tricks and cool things to say. There's a different art, unfortunately, that maybe is a dying art. And I just want to say about Rav Avi, the idea of somebody who's mashpia, not from what he says, not from the divrei Torah that he shares. And of course, although that also, there's something much to be said about, that people are saying over the divrei Torah from you. That's that's wonderful, and that's very, that's significant. But there's a much more fundamental idea called hashpa. We discussed this, the distinction between hashpa and chinuch. Reb Avi was mashpia, not from what he said, not from any cool, calculated tricks, who he was. And, it was mentioned by the Levaya, the hundreds of Talmidim. Where does it come from? What's the godless? 100 Talmidim. He would make, in the more recent years, a Shavuos program, and people, Talmidim came with their families. I think it's just clear to me, what I saw is a Yid who was so developed, sophisticated, and there's so much we could say about his own personality. There was a punctiliousness to a very organized, sophisticated aristocrat. There was an aristocracy about him that, very charismatic, etc. But beyond any single thing or the many different qualities we could say, like the Mishnah Nava says, Hu Haya Omer, beyond what he said, beyond who, what he would do or say, there was a certain sincerity, authenticity, a certain avodas pnimius on himself, who he was, like the Mishnah says, Hu Haya Omer. His essence said it. It's who he was that made that impact. And I think, and I'm going to say the following. I don't know of anyone, I can't think of anyone, in the sense of what a Talmud means. I'm talking emes, like a person molding his life based on what he saw from his Rebbe. The family that his Rebbe raised, the home, the Shabbos Kodesh that Rabbi Avi would conduct. How many were impacted? We saw it for many years. The impact of a Shabbos Kodesh, the avodah of tefillah, the seriousness, the sincerity that Rabbi Avi would show to tefillah, the incredible devotion to Talmidim, but not in a way of doting or overbearing, always there for anybody that needed, constantly on the phone. But I think what made the impact was the hashpah zeicha to have a chavrusa that I would learn with. This is not too long ago, a couple of years ago, we had chavrusa shop by night sitter, and then there came time where Rabbi Avi would give his little chabura for the last half hour of night seder. I cannot tell you how people would flock to it. Where'd that come from? I believe it's not what he would say per se, although there was great value to the Divrei Torah. I believe it's who he was that everyone was flocking to. And I think that's the impact that we have to be mindful of. Hashpah, when you become something great yourself, in godless Torah, I remember a Torah that Rabbi Avi as a bacher would exhibit, learning late Friday nights for hours on those long winter Friday nights with the chavrusa for hours and hours, but always being so attuned to everyone around him, becoming great himself, so that the greatest possible impact could be made on those around him. So I think this is what we need to remember in the schus of Rav Avi. He should be a tremendous man with Tzir for his beautiful mishpacha that he raised, for his hundreds of talmidim, for the rest of us that always look to him as a mentor, as a leader, and for all of Klal Yisrael.